Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. And today I want to talk about Shadowland, probably most players' favorite game mode. Now it's almost September and it's almost the 2-year anniversary of this game mode being introduced into Marvel Future Fight, so I decided to go and kind of review the game mode, give you my thoughts on what is good about it, what could be improved about it, and then also some suggestions for future ways that they could really inject a lot of interest and entertainment into this game mode with not a lot of difficulty or kind of challenge for the devs. So for any of you Netmarble employees watching, any Marvel Future Fight kind of engineers, start taking notes. So the thing about Shadowland that makes it very fun, of course, we know that you will get to use a majority of your roster. It's one of the only game modes that calls upon at least 30 characters, if not 90, when you use all three. And unlike other game modes, it actually has very rewarding items that you get for completing the first few stages. I mean, what other game mode would give you always 20 Nornstones and 10 Black Antimatter for the very first stage's completion? And then you get biometrics guaranteed at 5, 10, and 15, and you get other things like, you know, obelisks and gold, gear up kits, comic cards, and other things like that. So the rewards for the first 15 stages are actually very, very good, and they're surprisingly good for a game mode in Marvel Future Fight where they tend to be really bad at the beginning, the rewards. But as you get kind of further into Shadowland, as you get deeper into the dungeon crawl, it starts to decline. The quality of and the quantity of items that you get of rewards, it really doesn't match up and does not meet the difficulty. The bioselectors stop altogether. The gold is probably the only thing that continues to be relevant, but pretty much every other item you get is subpar in either its quality or its quantity. 3-star obelisks, 4-star cards, and stuff that just really should not be there. And the fact that they introduced RNG into the drops from stage 26 onward with the kind of hand, or I can't remember the other one, the Daredevil, the Shadowland box, only further kind of infuriates players. And on top of that, probably the rarest and probably the most valuable guaranteed item that we were getting from the Shadowland high level floor clears was uniform XP chips, those level 3 red chips. You get 50 every time you complete Shadowland. But now you can get them for gold or sometimes for dimension tokens from the item shop. So their rarity has really plummeted, and people's inventory, especially if you've been farming them, has really skyrocketed. I have almost 1,000 level 3 uniform XP chips, so they're really not that hard to get anymore, which only further devalues them as a currency and as a reward type in Shadowland. So I think that's probably the biggest pro and con to Shadowland. The beginning, the first 15 stages are super rewarding in terms of the items that you're given for newer players and for people who are just clearing those early stages. But then as a con, there really isn't that much, reward for progressing that much further than level 15 all the way to level 30. And it does get substantially more difficult. There are some awkward stages like 27 and 29 are much harder than 30. But generally speaking, it does scale quite well and quite linearly in terms of the difficulty, but unfortunately the rewards do not. And even for the additional rewards that they added, which were rewards that would be given to you if you cleared with at least 3 6-star characters, those rewards sometimes will outpace the rewards you're getting from the actual stage. And I have this screenshot to share with you guys. It actually happened to me where you can see the bonus reward was actually better than the regular reward from the stage. That should basically never happen. That right there is the perfect screenshot, the perfect image to illustrate how behind the Shadowland reward system is. Just really quickly to show you guys, if I just bring in Thor, I'm not getting this bonus reward. It's at the bottom and you can't really see it. When I click on it, you can see a list of the available items, but it's sad that some of these available items, like a 4-star card or a 4-star obelisk, will actually supersede the rewards that you're getting from a high-level Shadowland stage, where if you pull one of the boxes, it has a random reward, and you could get something, really terrible. But I do have some suggestions and some ways that they can make Shadowland more interesting than it already is, and it doesn't really revolve around rewards. I think I've covered well enough why the rewards are not good enough past stage 15. How they could be better is very simple. Just take a list, take a poll of the 5 most asked for items in the game, you know, cosmic cube fragments, Titan component packs, the Titan records themselves, a couple of other items, possibly even gold, and you'll have a pretty good cheat sheet for what you could inject into the game, into Shadowland, to make people a lot more excited and a lot more motivated to play those end level stages, or even just add stages on top. That's always been a recommendation, people just asking, please Netmarble, add another 5 stages, add another 10 stages of Shadowland. We would love that. That goes without saying. I don't think I want to dive too much into that. But for example, I had some ideas for how we could improve Shadowland. I think a themed week for Shadowland, maybe rotating every, you know, once a month they have a themed week, or, you know, every week for a month, would be really, really fantastic. So what I mean by a themed week, right now we do have, with the newest introduction, the newest update to Shadowland, the one time it was updated, certain stages falling as X-Men stages and mutant stages, and they're very infrequent, they're very rare, but when you get them, it's pretty much a delight to play against those types of enemies. And there's also specific stages that are set up where you fight the Avengers, and it's also quite exciting to do so. So they could expand on that idea and create a situation where randomly 1 week out of the 4 weeks of the month, so let's say, you know, for September, the third week of September is going to be X-Men week in Shadowland, and for that week only, there's going to be a, you know, 200% increase in the number of stages that you will see as X-Men related stages. Of course, they might have to create a few additional stages in order for this to be viable. You don't want to keep fighting the same entry mode stage with Cyclops, Rogue, Beast, Wolverine, Magneto, and Storm. But if they just add a couple of additional variables, variable stages, and then they just sprinkle them around, you know, some people get it on stage 1 or 5 or 3, some people get it on stage 28 or 29, rather than the ones that they've come to expect, and it kind of becomes this chore that you're doing rather than something exciting and fun and random. Injecting or introducing some variability in terms of the opponents that you face, not in terms of the rewards, Netmarble, actually makes a lot of fun. So you can do an X-Men themed week, you could do an Avengers themed week, an Inhumans themed week. There's tons of different, you could do it like a Netflix Defenders themed week. So there's Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, Thor and all of the Ragnarok kind of characters, the Asgardians. There's tons of different things that they could do to make this a lot more exciting, and have themed weeks that they could advertise on social media. It would draw in a lot more new players, because for players that are specifically looking for one particular subsect of Marvel characters, they don't just want to play with Marvel characters. They want to specifically play with you know, the Asgardians. They want to specifically play with the people in New York, in Hell's Kitchen, the Daredevils and the Iron Fists. When they see these kinds of advertisements on Twitter or Facebook, they'll be more likely to try out the game because it promises to introduce that in a really heavy way that's kind of something that everyone can enjoy. It's kind of like a faction battle, but it's a lot more personal, and it allows you to approach it in a unique way yourself, rather than just tying your name to one particular group. Oh, I'm with the X-Men. Oh, I'm with the Avengers. I'm with the Inhumans. And then just seeing how that pans out. The faction battle, it's good for what it does, but it could definitely be duplicated in other ways, like Shadowland, to make it really exciting. The other idea that I had for Shadowland is to basically borrow some of the themes that we've already seen from World Boss Ultimate. And I think this would be a really successful way to spice up Shadowland. So every 10 stages, you have a challenge mode that you basically have to go through in order to unlock the next 10 stages of the World Boss platform. And so in the case of Corvus, in order to unlock stage 40 through 49, I first have to complete a bunch of challenges on stage 39. Now, because this is a linear battle, which is different from Shadowland, it has some restrictions that I wouldn't apply to Shadowland, but you can see from a lot of these unlock lists, and these are very similar to the unlock lists that you saw when you were first unlocking the Scarlet Witch World Boss fight, or the Cable World Boss fight, or the Apocalypse World Boss fight. Very, very similar. Clear it a certain number of times, clear it very fast in a certain number of seconds, or I guess minutes, or clear it with specific characters, and those kinds of challenges. They can take those kinds of challenges and very easily apply them to Shadowland, either in a one-time thing, so you complete this challenge once and you'll get a one-time reward, let's say a larger reward, 500 CCF, you know, 1,000 Chaos Nornstones or something like that. And or they could have it so that it's a refreshing reward that you can collect every week or perhaps every month. And so you could do really exciting things with Shadowland, where you can have a restriction on the entire Shadowland experience, so that's stage 1 to 30. You can only clear it with universal types. So you can solo every stage with a universal character, but you might have to bring in additional ones for certain stages. Or maybe you can only use speed types, or only blast, or only combat, or they could do a dual one, only combat and blast. That would probably be a lot easier for newer players, and of course, when you exclude certain characters, it does punish players, but remember, you still have the base rewards for Shadowland. So these would just be additional challenges on top of the rewards to really incentivize the players who can do these challenges to actually take part in them and really test their roster strength, and also just to have fun. Some additional different kinds of restrictions they could put, or different kinds of challenges. They could have it where they ask you to clear certain stages, a certain number of stages with only particular types of characters. So it's similar to the other, but it's a little bit less stressful. So if you can clear 3 stages with only universal types, you'll get a reward. If you can clear 5, if you can clear 10. And so you can incrementally gauge and measure how much better you're getting over time. So it's even valuable for newer players, because they can say to themselves, well, a month ago, I could only clear 5 stages with all universals in Shadowland, but now I can do up to 10 stages. So I'm really getting somewhere with my roster. I'm really developing my universal type characters. Some other things you could do is have, you know, stage restrictions in terms of timers. Clear every stage in under 30 seconds. So they add up, you know, every single stage that you do, and they keep track. They could have it for just specific stages, clear, you know, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30 in under 30 seconds, in under a minute, in under a minute and a half. Clear every rumble in under 30 seconds. You can do things like that. And I don't think that this type of coding would be that difficult, but I think it would inject a lot of excitement and urgency and fun into Shadowland. Additionally, you could also do things like clear specific stages with specific characters. You have, for example, the stage with Iron Fist, and they want you to clear it with a specific villain of Iron Fists, or a specific hero of Iron Fists that helps them along, like Jessica Jones or Luke Cage. Obviously, those would be extremely difficult for this stage, but it's just an example. Perhaps use a Guardian of the Galaxy like Star-Lord against Rocket, which would be doable in this case, or Mantis, or Gamora. And then finally, you could do something where you clear without switching or tagging, and that would be a little bit less stressful, but it would just require you to solo the stage with one character. So these are my ideas for Shadowland, in addition to my overall assessment of the game mode. I love Shadowland, and I love any opportunity that I can craft a topic around Shadowland to talk to you guys about, because I really enjoy the game mode. Even at its least exciting, it's still arguably the most exciting thing in this game for me, and I think it is for you too. So let me know what you guys think of Shadowland. Let me know what kinds of new creative things you could use or you could do to implement to Shadowland to make it even better than it is now, on top of course, just adding more stages. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me. Hit the bell if you don't want to miss any of my videos. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.